Alright, hello and welcome back to the G1 tournament, NJPW's, I believe it's the 26th G1 Climax tournament, 2016, happening in 2016, the 26th one is, yes. I became Yoda there for a second. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the entire show. This is day 6 from the 27th. Got a little bit behind, but I'm going to try and catch up today. I'm going to go ahead and do the entire show to kind of make up for being late in the last couple. We're starting off with some 6-man tag team action. And seeing Tenzon heading out, probably with Kojima. Let's look at my schedule here. Yep, Tenzon, Kojima, Nakanishi. Sorry about any bumps and pops there. I'm trying to arrange the microphone a bit. Being led out by Nakanishi. There's Kojima and Tenzon. Tenzon dropping his first loss in the last round. Going up against Marufuji. But it definitely wasn't a pushover match for Marufuji. It came down to the wire. It could have gone either way. Marufuji managed to come out with a victory in the end. Just a little bit more in the gas tank, a little bit quicker to get out of the way of some of Tenzon's offense, and managed to hit that twisting... I think it's called a sliced bread. There's loads of variations on that theme, though. It's basically a twist around. Not quite a reverse tornado DDT, or rear tornado DDT, but kind of a twisted around flip over reverse DDT or rear DDT. Sometimes those simpler names are nicer to have than what he's actually doing, because what he's doing is flippity-flip DDT. That's what I'll call it, the flippity-flip DDT. So here we got Goto, Juice Robinson, and David Finlay. Let's guess who's going to get pinned in this one. Anybody want to take bets? How about you? You want to take a bet? Yeah. Finlay. Finlay's gonna get pinned. Almost certainly. I say almost certainly because every now and again they throw a curveball at you, but Captain New Japan isn't in this one, so it's pretty much gonna be David Finlay. Juice Robinson and Nakanishi continuing their little tag team action feud here. Robinson getting Nakanishi up, probably gonna take a bit of punishment in return now. Oh, gets him up for another suplex. Or for a suplex. Off the backdrop. 1, 2. Short 2 count. Robinson preventing Nakanishi from being able to get over to get a tag. Messing around, probably a bad idea. Does hit a clothesline there. Looking to go for something. Nakanishi gonna knock him off and hit a crossbody. And this is why I don't usually, or haven't been covering all of these tag matches, because they get a bit repetitive. goes for pin. 1, 2. Well, that was a bit different. Nakanishi managing to get up off his ass and not lay there breathing hard for 10 seconds, 30 seconds after doing it. Good to see. I'm not criticizing him, it's just last couple, 3 times I've seen him do that crossbody, he looks like he's about to have a heart attack after he does it. It takes it out of you that badly, dude. Don't do it. Mongolian chop. Forearm. Mongolian chop. Mongolian chop. Kojima chop, maybe. Slam gonna hit. It's a kind of a headbutt. Elbow. Ouch. Only a 2 count. Tenzan jaw-jacking with Togi Makabe. Let me check the schedule, and yep, they're going to have a match next up in the A block for the next show. Tenzan headbutting Robinson. Take a couple of forearms there. Managing to rock Tenzan a little bit. Just eats a big kick there, and Mongolian chop. Mongolian chop. Robinson catches him. Nice sidewalk slam. Spine buster, rather. Always manage to mix those two up. I know what the difference is and what they are, but for some reason when I start to say them, I always say the wrong one. Makabe clearing everybody off in there with Tenzan. Little preview here. Nails the big clothesline in the corner. Gonna hit the 10 punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now for the Northern Lights. Tenzan blocks. Saw it coming. Knew it was coming. Hard, nasty headbutt. And they just kind of run into each other, but Tenzan goes down. 2 count only. Could definitely be an interesting matchup. Could be a situation where you have 2 guys that are just too similar. Nice suplex. 1, 2. But Tenzan Makabe, professionals, they're going to go in there and put on the best story of a match that they can. So there will be no fault to the match. Just depends on what you want to see. Nice release. I still haven't decided if I should call that kind of a release Samoan drop or a high angle backdrop, side backdrop or something. It's kind of an odd positioned move. Samoan side, or Samoan backdrop, maybe? Sure, Samoan backdrop. Finlay trying some lightning chops, but Kojima much better at it. He's been doing it a lot longer. Yelling to the crowd. Not sure what he says. I've looked it up and I've forgotten. I think it might be something like, "You're an idiot." Or, "He's an idiot," something like that. Clothesline, and European uppercut. Big running European uppercut. Gonna go for the flip over there. 1, 2, and gets broken up. Doesn't get quite the snap off of that Kenny Omega does. Now we're going to have Kojima and Finlay in. Koji Cutter. Calling for the big clothesline. Finlay going to eat it. Nope. It's a big running European uppercut. 1, 2. Only 2 count. Shotgun uppercuts. Huge clothesline. Finley flies. And 3. I win the bet. Okay, everybody has to make a donation that bet against me. I'm psychic. I know who you are. Tenzan and Makabe getting into it on the outside. Tenzan will be coming off a loss in that match. Makabe, the only one, as far as I can think of, in A block that has gone 3-0 so far in the tournament. Get my notebook out here and check just to be certain. Yep. A block so far stands at Fale at 1, Goto at 2, Ishii at 1, Makabe at 3, Marufuji at 2, Okada at 2, Sanada at 1, Tanahashi at 0, very surprisingly, Tenzan at 2, and Tamatonga at 1. Going into the third round for B block, Elgin so far none, 0 and 2. I believe that's right. Yeah, day 6. We're on the third round. Okay, just trying to keep everything straight. Evil is at 1. Hanma's 1-2 in a row. Nagata is 1-2 in a row. Naito has 1 win. Nakajima 1 win. Kenny Omega 1. Shibata 1. Toriyano 0. Yoshihashi 1. Alright, up next we've got, let's see, it'll be Goto and Marufuji going up against Sanada and Bushi. Unless they've changed the order of the matches. Focus. 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 Thank you. Come on, camera people. Yes, that's a tag team title. This is a singles tournament. Jump up into the ring. Marufuji and Goto. Both setting at 2-1 currently. Marufuji will be going up against Ishii, and Goto will be going up against Sanada. Interesting. Comes Goto, coming off a loss to Okada. Another really close match, could have gone either way easily. Goto, very Just kind of like that Tenzon match, it came down to who could hit that last big move to finish the thing off, and Goto just wasn't quite able to catch Okada. Okada got him with a tombstone, hit the Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. Marufuji coming off a win over Tenzon. Beat Okada in their first match. But lost to Bad Luck Fale. Bushi coming out first. Looking like a baseball player vaguely for some reason. Followed by Skull Mask Head. Sonata, Cold Skull Mask Head. Is going to take his sweet time to get down to the ring. Carrying the baseball bat the wrong way. Sonata always looking like he's vaguely unhappy about something. Like he forgot to do something before he left the house and he keeps being a bit worried about it or something. Just a little bit odd. Goto gonna start off. He wants Sonata. But Bushi is starting. I almost feel sorry for Bushi in this instance because he is a junior heavyweight in there going up against two heavyweights on the opposite side. So heavyweight, junior heavyweight against two heavyweights. Two really hard-hitting heavyweights. Bushi doing his weird little kid thing. Not that I'm against junior heavyweights, the smaller guys mixing it up with the heavyweights, especially in tag team matches. Honestly, I think New Japan needs to just combine their two tag team divisions. Because they've got junior heavyweight and heavyweight tag divisions. I think they should just combine them because they don't have enough dedicated tag teams for both titles to anchor them. In a company that focuses mostly on the ring action instead of out-of-ring drama, melodrama, way too often, unfortunately, here in the States. You get the choking with the shirt. Yeah, that's real good. But anyway, the focus on in-ring action, then the primary story that you should be wanting to tell is that of competition. Which is always, to me, is the heart of pro wrestling, no matter what else is going on. Competition and in-ring action. Those are the core stories you're trying to tell. So, having so few teams in each of the tag team divisions, I think really hurts NJPW. I think they should just combine the two divisions and let them compete against each other. Little bit of double team action going on here, trying to isolate Goto. Probably going to want to hurt him for Sonata's match against him. A little clumsy there. Goto out of position. Nails the head onto the knee. There. Just pulls Sonata's head right down onto his knee. Gets the tag to Marufuji, who goes after Sonata. Cartwheel and dropkick. Catches Bushi, who is going to regret taking his shirt off. Big elbow. Shoots off. Sonata going to look for that off-the-shoulder cutter, but gets Marufuji wiggles free and eats an elbow. Goes for the moonsault. Marufuji escapes that, but does not escape the dropkick to the back. Sonata shoots in, but takes a kick. Another kick. Another kick. Marufuji looking for the flippity-flip DDT. Flippity twist. There you go. Flippity twist DDT. Double and a drop kick. Double leapfrog drop kick. Sonata looking for the tag. Gets it. Bushi runs in. Slams into the turnbuckle, but does manage to hit the two kicks there and a spinneroonie. This escape kick, maybe? I'm not sure what to call that. One, the slippity slip kick, double knee, big elbow, double knee, going for the 1, 2, broken up by Goto, who gets thrown out by Sonata. Chases, Goto catches him. Bushi looking for the double knee. Marufuji dodges. Bushi gets floored by Goto. Sonata caught, DVD on the knee, and hits it. Up and over. Nails Sonata on the outside. Marufuji going for kicks. Gets caught. Marufuji hits the big kick there. Big knee. Bushi going to have enough to put up with this. Hits it and flippity twist DDT. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I guess I'll go ahead and jump in about my game again. If you haven't watched any previous ones, just little promo stuff for my stuff. Not affiliate things. I would rather just promote my own things instead of affiliate stuff. It handles the other end of that, Sonata. That's the part that you hit things with. Goofball. So my game is The Adventure of Fuckface McPussy. It's a comedy RPG, kind of in the vein of, well, it's Dr. Strangelove, but Mel Brooks and Hunter Thompson and all sorts of things I'm influenced by mixed in there. All sorts of crazy, funny stuff. So, The Adventure of Fuckface. You can find it under that. Only put asterisks in as the UCK. So, and that's Shift 8, the star. If you don't know what asterisk is, some people don't. So, the F, asterisk, 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 face. The Adventure of F Face. Or just Acid Heads, ACID, HEDZ, The Adventure of, and you should find it. It's on Game Jolt and on EGO, or HEO, $4.99. I think is a bargain. Good for a bunch of laughs. Should have a good time playing it. So go check it out. All sorts of good stuff. Loads of fun. So we got Tiger Mask, Shushin Thunder Liger, and Captain New Japan. And since there are no other Young Lions, we know who's going to be getting the pinned in this one. Spoiler alert. Captain New Japan always loses. He's going to be there, or rather they are going to be going up against Tanahashi, Kushida, and Taguchi. So no preview on this one. Tanahashi will be going up against Bad Luck Fale. Here comes Taguchi, who appears to be doing some sort of lounge singer shtick. I'm not sure what the hell he's doing. He has a microphone and is got star glasses and a kind of a sparkly lounge singer jacket. Tanahashi, very surprising, 0-3 in the tournament so far. Won it last year, won it several times. Coming back off of an injury, though. Definitely makes a difference, but I don't think anybody would have guessed that he was going to go 0-3. Kushida going out. Give the dog tags in person that time. Usually he just throws them on the larger crowds like this. Well, this isn't a really big crowd, but usually only hands it to someone when they're at one of the large gyms. Or, yeah, one of the gym arenas that they do have. Captain New Japan wants to get in the ring. The other two obviously do not want him to start the match. Captain New Japan wants to start with Tanahashi. Tanahashi apparently going like, oh, okay. Round and around we go. Tanahashi may be a little bit surprised that Captain New Japan's was doing that well. Throws him off. Jump over. Captain New Japan thinks he has some sort of invisible force he can stop people with. Tanahashi is apparently a bit confused by what's going on. Captain New Japan a little bit low on the roster for Tanahashi to be quite used to dealing with him. Taguchi being Taguchi. Taguchi's fun. And can have one hell of a match. When allowed to. Nails the hip thrust, aka the funky weapon, aka the hip thrust. Goes for it again, and Tiger Mask dodges and kicks him in the ass. And just stomping on his ass now. Super stomping. Caught. Delta Whirl backbreaker. Jushin Liger specialty. Signature going for the surfboard, the Mexican surfboard. Another one of his more or less signature softening up moves that he will go for in pretty much every single match. But it works, so if it's not broke, don't fix it. As the saying goes. Jushin Liger does not want to tag in New Japan. Captain New Japan. Tags in Tiger Mask instead. Twist on the arm. Tiger Mask also refuses to tag Captain New Japan. Working over Taguchi's arm pretty good here. You're going to go ahead and let him tag in. And Taguchi reverses. Now working on Captain New Japan's arm, goes for the shoulder block. Taguchi just gets out of the way. Tanahashi coming in, nails him. Crossbody to knock both Jushin and Tiger off. Japan reverses the Irish Whip. Tanahashi hits the flying elbow. Tanahashi gonna go for the flipping senton here. And nails it. Gonna go for a pin here. I couldn't even see what the ref was doing. Bad camera angle. Call for the sling blade, and New Japan gets out of the way and hits a shoulder tackle. Has Kushida really been in this? Not that much. Little triple team in here. Sends him in a tiger mask, catches him, gonna go for the tiger driver, nails it. Captain New Japan, they're egging him on. Go for the headbutt. Go for the big headbutt. Anyone want to take a bet on Tanahashi moving? Here comes Kushida, but gets stopped. Kushida Tajiri hits them both. Captain New Japan hitting that uppercut. He does know how to hit an uppercut. Kushida kick and a flip. Another kick. New Japan staggered. Catches him. Rock bottom. 1, 2. I want to say that move's properly called something like a Uranagi or Inagi or something like that. It's like a one-arm slam. Popularized by Dwayne Johnson and his guys as The Rock. Taguchi bump hits Captain New Japan. Tanahashi sling blade. Roll up pin. 1, 2, but broken up. So we're going to get Taguchi hitting Liger. Imagine Tanahashi nailed Tiger Mask on the other side. Kushida going to look to finish this off with a moonsault. 1, 2. Captain New Japan kicks out. Surprising Kushida. And goes into the Kimura. Captain New Japan looking to get to the ropes. Kushida rolls him, locks it in. Good body positioning. Captain New Japan has to tap. And does. Okay, again, anybody you bet against me has to pony up some cash. Gotta give me some dosh for that. Captain New Japan, like the slow younger brother, you just kind of humor and let him go. You encourage him, but he's never quite makes it. It's not very nice, but kind of true. Little celebratory stuff in the ring, shaking the hands. Good game, good game. Alrighty, so we're going to have one more tag team match, which will be Okada, Ishii, and Gedo going up against Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, and Takahashi. As I said, Bad Luck Fale will be going up against Tanahashi in their next match. Ishii against Marufuji, Okada against Tama Tonga. So, Bad Luck Fale and Tanahashi had a very interesting match last year. Fale managed to beat Tanahashi with some assistance. Tama Tonga, still at this point a bit of an unknown commodity in the tournament. He managed to beat Tanahashi, but then Tanahashi has not been doing well overall, so normally that would be a huge feather in his cap, being primarily tag team competitor, and certainly it still is. Coming off of 2 losses, taking a third, and the recovering from the injury aspect of it, have to consider that Tanahashi is not at the top of his game currently. So Tama Tonga beginning his first one-on-one match with the world champ. It'll be interesting to see how he copes. And he's coming out in one of his older camo pants outfits. What happened to his brother? They were tag team champs there for a bit, and then I haven't seen him since. I was kind of hoping they'd go big with the tournament this year and do like 12 men in each block. Maybe have Takahashi, Tangaroa, Tama Tonga's brother, Kojima, maybe brought in a third guy from Noah, and the announcer dude gets the hell out of the ring before Fale has a chance to knock him down. Since for some reason that's become something Fale wants to do at the beginning of every match, is knock down the announcer dude for no particular reason. And they have Okada come in along with Ishii and Gedo. Ishii leading the way here, followed by Rainmaker Okada. Gedo pulling up the rear. Mr. Bling Bling. Alright, let's see if these guys are going to kick things off here pretty soon. Just waiting for them to get around to starting the match. Okada has to get all of his stuff off. Ref needs to check everybody out. Are these guys actually just going to start a match normally and not rush them? Wow. Tama Tonga going to start the match with Okada. Perhaps a slight disadvantage to Okada's team with Gato out there as a junior heavyweight against 3 heavyweights, and Bad Luck Fale being one of them. So you could make the argument that he makes up about 1.5 heavyweights all by himself. About a heavyweight and a junior heavyweight. Definitely going to be an interesting matchup. Tama Tonga firing off on Okada. And a little head game of his own there. Little overzealous. Got a scoop and a slam. Shoots back in with a splash. Well, senton. Gato gonna come in. A little scrape in the face. And a running drop kick there. Gato pretty much Okada's mentor. Been I'd say Gato, along with his partner Jado, tag team in Japanese tag team action and pro wrestling, pretty much a mainstay since the 80s. Really, Fale wants to go up against Ishii here. Probably because I just had to jog my memory. Yeah, these two went up against each other in their last match. Ishii beat Fale. 1, 2. So Fale looking to get a little revenge here, I think. Tries the avalanche. Ishii catching him. Couple of kicks there. Gonna try and take him up. Fale avoiding it. Ishii going to the knee. Trying to get him up. Big scoop slam from Fale there. Tama Tonga sliding on out, going after Okada 1, 2. 2 count only. Maybe hurt his arm a bit. Okay, now Tama Tonga's makeup looks really strange. It's probably from Gato doing the scrape of the boot bit on him. Now it looks like he's got a hole on his forehead or something. It looks really weird. Fale tags in Takahashi. Takahashi not in the tournament this year, was in it last year. Did okay. Not really in the running, though. About, I'd say 2/3 of the way through, he was pretty much eliminated. Not a horrible performance, but not great either. This year, not in the tournament at all. Tama Tonga is in. Which is a good thing. Some fresh blood. Focusing on Ishii here. Who is not impressed. Hard headbutts, Ishii, not impressed. Super headbutt, gets a reaction. Ishii nailing Fale there, and then gets Tomatonga to do it. Big belly to back suplex. Ishii needs to get a pin, but Takahashi comes in to play interference. Ishii reverses, catches, release power slam. Ishii tags Okada. Okada comes in, hits Tomatonga, Takahashi. Not able to cope with both of them at the same time, though, but catches him right there. Nice anti-double teaming tactics there. Using one opponent as a battering ram into the other. DDT kept up. See what he's going to go for here. Gets caught though. Flurry of strikes. Tomatonga comes off. Flapjacked. Now, these two have been in the ring with each other before, so it's not like they're complete strangers to each other, but never in singles competition. So seeing how that plays out will be fairly interesting. Going for a scoop slam, probably look for that elbow. Tomatonga gets out of it, catches him. Hits the off the shoulders flapjack of his own. I could not see the ref. Looking for a big cutter right there. He started using that after the one dude left. Hits a reverse cutter. Nice surprise move there. Gets Takahashi. Shoots in. Nails Okada with a big kick right there. Gets him down, goes for the drop kick and misses. Takahashi stops him cold. Is he going to be able to do anything about it though? Okada stops him with a big boot. Is he going to be able to do anything? Catches him, going for the kryptonite crunch on the knee, hits it. Gets Gato. Gato coming in and gets Takahashi. Hard punches there. Inverted atomic drop. Jawbreaker. Looks for the charging kick. Hits it. Solid connection. Gets 1, 2. Only 2 count. Little shake, rattle, and roll here. Wax him one good. Fale comes in. Just throws him bodily into the corner. Knocks both other men off that side. Little triple team action here. Huge splash. Sends him into Fale, who's going to go for the power bomb. Bad luck fall. Going for the bad luck fall. Looking for it. Ishii going to stop it. I think what I'd like to see Fale do, adopt as a finisher, is kind of a reverse super power slam. It's off the shoulder with the guy up on your shoulder, and then you slam him face first down onto the mat. I know that there's a name for it, and there's a couple of guys that I've seen doing it, I just don't remember. Short DDT, we've seen Takahashi beat Gato with this earlier in another tag team match, and does it again here. Takahashi very pleased with himself for that, for some reason. winning the match always good, but seem very, very pleased with themselves. But I've never been a big fan of what Bad Luck Fale calls the Bad Luck Fall, or the Edge, whatever you want to call it. Never been a fan of that move. Always thought it looked really odd. Doesn't really have that much impact compared to a power bomb, and so easy to wiggle out of. Fale doing something like like that reverse power slam off the shoulder, or a variation of some sort of a big slam. Not necessarily just a straight up big man move that you'd expect, but maybe a variation on one. Just something that he can catch somebody with and then just nail them with it. Like the spike. The spike's a good kind of surprise move, because he can catch somebody, get them up, and then hit that spike, and a lot of punishment in that. But going for that Bad Luck Fall, it's too easy to see it coming. It's too easy to get out of. He needs something that is a little bit quicker, I think. Okay, so that wraps up that particular round of tag team action. I'm going to go ahead and skip forward to the main events here, the tournament matches. First, I'll go ahead and do a little self-promotion stuff here for for doing the recording and all that junk. So I talked about that comedy RPG. So you can also check out my website. It's acidbathproductions.biz. It's just spelled normally, acidbathproductions.biz. I also have music that you might, you can go ahead. I would appreciate it if you'd check out my music at sellfy.com/acidheads, ACIDHEDZ. Okay, some sort of weird music video going on there on the screens. I do not know what that's all about. Commercials? Maybe commercials at a pro wrestling show. Why not? Alright. So that's it for the first part of this. Go ahead and jump ahead. Alrighty. Jumped ahead here a little bit. And we're having Yoshihashi, who'll be coming out right quick. And he's going to be going up against Nagata. Yoshihashi, 1 win, 1 loss so far. Of course, the win was against Kenny Omega, who was the Intercontinental Champion, so not doing that badly so far. But then, of course, he lost to Hanma, which could definitely be taken as a setback considering Hanma's record in the tournament last couple of years. 1 win for both years, or through both years, I should say. 0 wins the first year, or 2 years ago. 1 win last year. 2 wins so far this year, so if the rate he's going, if he continues the trend and doesn't win again during this tournament, then It'll only take him about 6 or 7 tournaments to finally win the thing, managing to pick up a win, another win every tournament. But you never know, this could be Hanma's year. Here comes Yuji Nagata, Blue Justice. His salute he likes to do there. His shirt says third generation of NJPW superstars, not third generation wrestler, as far as I know. Yoshihashi, a little bit of a arm problem, it looks like. Sporting the supporters. The sport supporters. Nagata looking pretty spry. Last year got injured pretty early, bruised ribs, really made things hard on him. Been doing pretty well so far. Has won both of his matches. Against Naito and Evil. Yoshihashi, no clean break. Maybe a mistake. Nagata quite happy to get nasty with you if you irritate him. Not that he's not going to kick your ass anyway, but he might be a little nicer about it if you don't get on his bad side. But Yoshihashi has screwed the pooch on that one right there. Nagata already going for that arm bar. Not really a surprise. Yoshihashi with those supporters on his arm. Might as well just paint a bullseye on his arm for everybody that he gets in the ring with. Nagata does like to use a reverse armbar as a finisher, so that is definitely going to put him in a bad position. Gets over to the ropes. Nagata not quick to release, though. In this situation, pretty much everything is in Nagata's corner here as far as advantages go. Except maybe youth and the energy of youth. Perhaps determination. Nagata, of course, gonna want to prove that he's not getting too old for it. At the same time, he has proven himself numerous times in the past. While Yoshihashi, this is his first major run as a singles competitor. This is his chance to really show what he can do in the ring as a singles competitor, so he's definitely got something to prove here. Sometimes that is what gives you the edge that can see you through even the worst matches. Managing to take it to Nagata here. Pausing to catch a breath, though. Every time he does that, Nagata's also getting a chance to catch his breath, recover a little bit. And very nice suplex, very well executed. Again, cameraman completely out of position to catch the ref, so I couldn't tell what he was doing. Chin lock. Nice leverage with the knee. Nagata maybe trying to play a bit of a weasel there, trying to tell the ref that he was being choked. Wily old veteran, he's not going to miss a trick if he can help it. Hard chop there. Yoshihashi hanging him up. Gonna look for a drop kick. Nagata kind of just hanging out. 1, 2. Definitely not enough. Nagata trying to fire back from the knees. Not going to get a lot of leverage for that. Back up. Hard forearm. Yoshihashi hits one. Elbow to the back of the head. That drops Nagata. Yoshihashi definitely going to have some good training here. You cannot count him out in terms of his mentorship that he has been able to undertake as a member of Chaos. You have to keep in mind that he's had some of the best in NJPW as stablemates who will have been teaching him all this time. But being taught is not the same as experience, as Nagata is proving right now. Hard kicks, drops Hashi. Vicious forearm there. Whips into the corner. Nagata shoots in. Big kick. Looking for the exploder. Hashi stops him. Takes a big forearm. Fake out in a slap. Yoshihashi manages to get out of it. Hits Overcastle. 1, 2. Kind of a standard 2 count there. Not really short or long. Yoshihashi sends Nagata into the corner. Big chop. Threw a lot of himself, or a lot of his weight into that. Looking for a suplex, and Nagata blocking it. Goes back to the forearms. Yoshi connects with a kick. DDT. Maybe calling for the senton here. Nagata back up though. Catches him. Yoshi slips through, looking for a powerbomb here. Nagata is caught, and powerbomb flip over, 1, 2. Nagata kicks out last second. Not even second, last moment. Now possibly looking for the swanton, senton. Hits it. 1. Could not see the ref again. Hashi has in that butterfly lock. Variation on the butterfly lock. Kind of an arm head wrench. Neck wrench, I should say. Nagata locked in pretty tight there. Far away from the ropes. Yoshihashi has him locked pretty good. Can Nagata scoot over? He still has a ways to go. And the foot's on the rope. Yoshihashi has to break. Looking to lock something in, but Nagata takes him down and gets the arm bar. Now it's Yoshihashi's turn to show that if he has enough to not tap out, Nagata rolling the eyes, showing that he's really got it locked in. Yoshihashi scooching over, gets to the rope. Now this is going to come down to just how damaged Yoshihashi's arm already was. Nagata wasn't able to hold in that arm bar as long as Yoshihashi held in his arm neck wrench lock that he's been using there. But Nagata not coming in injured and not taking a great deal of punishment to either arms or the neck. Roll up. One or two count there. Nagata flies in with a big forearm. Yoshihashi hits that thrusting clothesline. 1, 2. Long 2 count. Nagata kicks out. Yoshi going back for it, but Nagata catches him. Looking for that backdrop. Yoshihashi hits the thrust kick. Didn't quite hit the head though. Nagata big boot. Flip kick, forward flipping kick. Takes Yoshihashi off his feet. Nagata looking for maybe a brain buster. Yep. Hits it. 1, 2, only 2 count. Really wish the camera people would stay a little bit more zoomed out for the pins, because I cannot see the ref. Nagata hits the backdrop with the pin, and 3. Gets the 1, 2, 3. So Nagata moves up to 3-0. I have to say, Yoshihashi might have had Nagata in a bit of trouble a couple of times, but for the most part, Nagata never really in a lot of danger there. Not really surprising. Nagata, veteran, still having excellent matches. Yoshihashi, still a bit green. But every single one of these matches is a learning experience, a chance to grow. And still 6 more matches to go for B Block. He still has plenty of time to pull this through, depending on just how bad that shoulder is. If he's really damaged his shoulder, every match is just going to aggravate it over and over again. It's never going to be quite enough time to heal very well. could be doing himself ill by remaining in the tournament. But then, of course, he's not going to want to look like a punk. So one just has to kind of hope that he isn't seriously injured and it's just sore muscle. Perhaps some deep bruising. Next up, we're going to have Evil. Who is going to be going up against Nakajima from Noah. Here comes Nakajima. Both men with one victory, one defeat so far in the tournament. Nakajima beating Toriyano, but dropping a loss to Nagata. Evil beating Michael Elgin. But hold on a second here, I'm trying to see something. Evil lost to Nagata and Nakajima lost to Shibata. If I didn't say that right. Evil beating Elgin in their first match, but losing to Nagata. Nakajima beating Toriyano and then losing to Shibata. So both 1-1 and both coming off losses. So someone's going to go ahead and pick up another win here, but the other guy is going to drop 2 in a row. But again, only the third round, 6 more to go. Dropping another loss, not the end of the tournament, but at the same time, not something you want to do this early. Makabe and Nagata, so far the only ones with a perfect record so far in the tournament, gives them that little bit of a buffer, just in case. Interesting clash of styles here. Nakajima, striker primarily, kicker, Evil, very much of a strong style wrestler, but also uses a lot of power wrestling. Not adverse to using dirty tactics, as we see here. Really catching him with that chair right there, right into the face. It's like he caught him hard on the mouth. It caught him hard on the mouth. Evil may be looking for a sneaky count-out victory here. Nakajima still clutching at his mouth on the outside. He did smash into that chair pretty hard. Sometimes Evil does that to someone and the chair just kind of flips off their head. Definitely going to hurt, but not as much. Nakajima pretty much caught it flush in the face. Just choking him. And digging the elbow in. Raking. Probably not a bad strategy for Evil here. Nakajima not going to be able to hold up under the kind of punishment Evil can put up for very long, particularly if he can ground him and just wear him down like he's doing here. Just keeping control, keeping him from using those kicks, keeping him off his feet. 1, 2. Only a 2 count off the senton. Nakajima has got to get up and start trying to get some offense here. He's got to build some momentum. He can't just let Evil have his way here. Starts firing back with some elbows, forearms. Evil not really rocked by it. He's gotten pretty used to taking that from Goto, bigger man than Nakajima. Evil, I'd say, making a mistake here. Just kind of messing with him. Sort of thing, it doesn't feel good, but it's superficial. It's not really going to do any damage. It's just going to annoy him in the long run. That's what it's doing. Get him off the ropes. Goes to the leg. Low drop kick. Leg whip. Nakajima, he cannot waste a lot of time trying to recover. He's got to pull through, push through the pain, any fatigue he's experiencing. He's got to stay on top of Evil. Big kick. Another big kick. Well, he is called the genius of kicks. Although, oddly enough, I would say that Marufuji in the A block is far more dynamic from what I've seen so far. Going up top. Real quick getting up there. Big straight drop kick, missile drop kick. Rolls over. 1, 2. I think that was a 2 count. managed to turn things around. He keeps picking Evil up. That could bite him on the ass. Evil fighting out of it, looking. Uses a short arm into a clubbing forearm. Catches and discus. Clothesline, catches, Fisherman Buster. 1, 2, 2 count only. Evil looking for something here, but gets caught. Big spin kick on Evil setting up top. It's enough to stop him. Gives Nakajima an opening. He needs to stop messing around. Has a hold of him, looking for a backdrop. Big knee. Nakajima stops the clothesline with a kick and hits the big backdrop. Very high angle. A lot of impact on the back of the head there. Very fast kicks. Sizing him up. Just charging in. Another fast, fairly good impact. Evil hits a backdrop of his own. Stops Nakajima cold. Both men down. See who can recover first, who can get up first. Whoever can get up first is going to have an advantage. Neither one really getting up first. Nakajima going right after him, though, after Evil. But Evil gets in the first bit of offense. I'm going to trade forearms here. Again, I don't think that's really the kind of battle that Nakajima wants to get into. Does succeed in rattling Evil. And Nakajima coming out on top briefly, but gets caught. Big forearms. Big, huge clothesline. Evil nails him, drops him. Looking for his finish. Nope, taking him up. Off the shoulder slam, power bomb. Very long 2 count. Nakajima kicks out at the last moment. Guess I would call that an off-the-shoulder bomb more than a slam. Death Valley sit-out power bomb. There you go. Looking to pick him up. Going for the STO. Nakajima catches him, goes for the kick. Misses, gets headbutted. And a nice flipping drop kick. Wasting time. Emoting to the audience. Looking for the penalty kick. Hits him. They're going to go into a brain buster. And brain buster. 1, 2, 3. Nakajima picks up the 1, 2, 3. In the end, Nakajima looking like he had just about lost a couple of times there, three times. Kind of pulling that win out of his ass through sheer determination. Alright, so it's going to be Naito going up against Toriano next. This one could be interesting. Naito sporting his new stripy vampire skull mask. Looking like the love child of a baseball and a horror mask. Halloween mask. Skeletor, there you go. And we're going to have to take this as Naito's light match of the tournament. Toriano, usually not a very long, hard match for anyone involved. Usually. If last year's tournament is anything to go by, he usually will have one or two matches that are a bit more, shall we say, solid. Messing with red shoes for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. Other than that, for some reason, occasionally Naito likes screwing with the people around the and in the ring. Camera people, refs, whoever is close, that he can mess with them. Toriano, one half of the Noah Tag Team Champs, along with Marufuji. Marufuji, a Noah wrestler. Toriano, NJPW wrestler who went over on loan, I guess you could say. They are affiliated with each other. Toriano, always with a DVD, trying to hawk those DVDs. Just like I want people to play my game, so go check it out. The Adventure of Fuckface. Go check out the game. This is the promotional part of this. And toss us the water. Naito, it doesn't even show us how he reacts, which apparently is not at all. Naito seems more interested in screwing with Red Shoes than worrying about having the match. Toriano acting like he's going to rush out at him and then just jog slowly backwards. Just messing around. So basically what we have here is a wrestler in Naito who tends to not want to really engage at all until he's damn good and ready to do it, and Toriano who essentially does the same thing only in a different way. Maybe a contest of who can bore the other one the worst, fastest. Just messing around, really. Toriano is the first one to go for something. And Naito gets out of the way. So now it's his turn to just kind of hang out. Toriano calling for the rope break. Naito does not give a damn. Kick to the midsection, off the rope. Toriano catches. And Naito does not give a damn. Toriano seems to be a little bit perplexed. His antics are not working. Naito going to the turnbuckle pad. Toriano capitalizes. Now they're both going to take the turnbuckle pads off. Toriano does it a hell of a lot more often, does it a lot faster, and starts beating up Naito with a pad. Inverted atomic drop there. Kick, flip, and drop kick with a sweep. Strike a pose. Another big kick to the gut there. Inverted atomic drop. Gets him. Catapult into the exposed turnbuckles. Naito manages to ride down every damn one of them. Goes after the other turnbuckle pad. Red Shoe says no. Toriano says yes. Naito Like he tries to spit at him. 1, 2. A lot of back and forth cheating going on here. And an enziguri. Off the rope. Reversal. Catch of the hair. Naito spits again. This time spits on the ref. 1, 2. Still only a 2 count. Toru Yano not getting the cheeky win. Ouch. Looks like Naito may have gotten low blowed at some point there, and I just didn't catch it. Kind of hard to call all the action when they get into these flurries of activity doing so many different things so quickly. Now they're just shoving the ref back and forth. And a low blow from Naito. Catches. Hits the finisher. And 1, 2, 3. Like I said, easy night for Naito. Which takes him up to 2-1. Toru Yano, still no wins so far. He is kind of the NJPW king of the sneaky wins, so don't be surprised if he gets a couple 3 in there somewhere. Out of nowhere. While waiting for the next match to get going, once again, I have music you can come check out at sellfi.com/acidheads. You can also come check out my YouTube channel where I have some music up, music video form, as well as some gameplay videos, other wrestling stuff. I have an e-fed that I run on there called AZW. Haven't added anything to it lately, but there's quite a bit of back matches that you might be interested in watching. I use the old Nintendo 64 game No Mercy for doing the e-fed. It's basically my own characters and everything with me doing commentary for the matches. Okay, so we're going to have Kenny Omega up against Hanma. They said Hanma, 2 wins so far. So this is a very interesting match because Omega recently lost both the 6-man tag titles and the Intercontinental title. And he's 1-1 in the tournament so far. This is his first year in the tournament, so really going to be interesting throughout the rest of the tournament to see how he copes with being in this. not coming out with any backup on this match. Perhaps underestimating Hanma. Again, also interesting because 2 years ago, Hanma G1 tournament, 0 wins. Last year, only 1 win. This year, 2 wins in a row. One against Shibata, the current never openweight champion, right out of the gate. As well as Yoshihashi. So, beating someone that he had just lost a match to for that never openweight title. Shibata retained the title in that match. Then Hanma comes out and beats him first match of the tournament. Definitely, you could look at that as one of the harder matches for him in the tournament. Yoshihashi just moving into singles competition in the tournament out of basically being one of Chaos's rookie backup guys. Not going to be considered one of the major players, so you could say that Hanma has had one really stiff match and one a little bit easier. Yoshihashi put up a good showing, but again, kind of a rookie. This is going to be the test of what Hanma is going to be able to accomplish in this tournament. Could he go all the way this year? He's got a lot to prove. Kenny Omega also has a lot to prove, losing 2 titles so recently. First year in the tournament. And losing to Yoshihashi in his opening match. Their opening match, I should say. And his only other match beating Toru Yano. Toru Yano. So, going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Omega trying to get a sneaky chop in there. Doesn't get it. Hanma floors him. Omega pops up. Hanma drops him. Calling for the Kakeshi. And Omega moving before Hanma can even try to drop. That could actually work against Omega. That is probably the greatest flaw in Hanma's style and the biggest kink in his armor. Hanma has him out on the apron, going to go for a Kakeshi on there, and misses big time. Hits right into the apron. That is the hardest part of the ring. I was just going to say that, and perfectly illustrated right there, Hanma often hurts himself, which can sometimes really cost him a match. Omega managed to take advantage right there. On the flip side of that, Hanma, extremely tough. Extremely determined. That's why he's a fan favorite, because he always gives 100% and then some out in the ring. Win or lose. Goes for the Kakeshi on the outside and misses. Now this could be a case of Hanma trying so hard to get that third win that he's pushing a little bit too hard and opening himself up here. Omega kind of capturing him and over with a stomp. Nasty. Nailed him pretty hard. Hanma not gonna let him win that easy. 1, 2. Hanma gets his foot on the rope. Omega just clubbing blows, stomp. Scrape in the face there. Headlock, maybe. Not quite a sleeper. Grinding on the top of Hanma's bald spot there. Now has him down in a headlock. Again, not quite a sleeper. Hanma fired up, firing back. Omega going to his bag of tricks, trying to keep Hanma from really building any momentum and getting some offense going. Choking, assist with a rope. Into the turnbuckle. Chop. Gonna take more than that to really break Hanma. Omega charging out, hits the big flying elbow. Hanma not really able to answer back. Looking for a suplex here. Hanma blocking. He is a very strong guy. Looking to deadlift Omega over. Omega going for it. Not getting it. Hanma gets him up. Nice suplex. Hanma needed that opening. He needed to stun Omega, give himself a chance to get something going on, get something happening for himself. Omega rushes in, but gets floored again. Scoop slam. Hanma calling for a clothesline, maybe? Oh. Big flying forearm, bulldog. Gonna go for the Kakeshi. Hits it. Whip into the corner. Omega catches him, but eats a big clothesline. Hanma up. Over Castle from the second rope. Looking for the pin. 1, 2. Omega kicks out. Hanma maybe looking for that driver. Off the shoulder pile driver. Omega wiggles free. Jockeying for position. Omega swings around, goes for the leg. Jump over. Bulldog. 2 count only. Omega's starting to show signs of frustration. It's probably his biggest weakness. He gets frustrated, he starts making mistakes, and he will hurt himself as well. I'm gonna look for that roll through. Always gets a nice snap off of that, and the moonsault, which he completely screws up. And Hanma gets the knees up. Looks like they both might have tweaked their knees a little bit somewhere along the way. Rather, Hanma's knee looked like Omega may have tweaked his ankle. Looking for a suplex or maybe a Falcon's Arrow. Hanma goes over, so does Omega. He gets him, Snapdragon suplex. Hanma stays up. Flying headbutt to the back. 1, 2, only 2 count. Going for the driver, hits it. 1, 2, Omega kicks out. Scoop and a slam. Gonna go for the big headbutt from the top. If he hits this, it's gonna be over. If he misses, he's in trouble. He missed. That's an opening Omega can take advantage of. It's big knee. 1, 2, only 2 count. Gonna go for the knee again, maybe. And hits him again. Gonna look for that finisher of his. Hanma wiggles free. Slapping the crap out of him. Block of the clothesline attempt. Big knee to the chin. Hanma goes for the flying headbutt and gets caught. Omega picks him up. Struggling. Looking for a powerbomb. Hits it. 1, 2. Hanma kicks out. Omega calling for something. Just got twisted all around. Hanma picks him up. Hard brain buster. 1, 2. Omega kicks out. Both men very determined to win, leaving everything they've got in that ring. They're not willing to give up. Super kick, flying headbutt. Both men down. Both slow to get up. Up at pretty much the same time. Big chop goes high, hits the throat. Omega returns a chop. 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 Chop, 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 chop. This is getting really irritating. Chop, 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 chop. Goes for the clothesline, gets hit by a knee. It's a big elbow. As Hanma went for the big Dragon to 2 count only. Dragon suplex. I think Hanma went for a flying headbutt again, and Omega hit the knee. Only a glancing blow, though. Once again, doing the bullet pose, flying in, hits the big knee to the side of the head that time. Gonna look for the finisher, and this time he hits it. 1, 2, 3. Omega wins. Well, Hanma didn't go 3-0, but he still has 6 more matches to go. It's not a guarantee that he's just gonna stick it to this year. Alright, in the final match is going to be Elgin against Shibata. You're gonna strong style, primarily a kicker, and Shibata. Elgin has adapted to the strong style, adopted aspects of it, but also mainly a power wrestler. Elgin 0-2 so far, no wins at all. Shibata 1-1. Elgin is holding the Intercontinental title, as well as another title. I still haven't looked up what that is. Go ahead and do that. Okay, so he's got a title from a company called Lucha Libre Elite, where he is the inaugural world champ. I don't want to speak ill of a new promotion, but it does seem a little odd to have your world champ off competing primarily in Japan. Although I suppose putting the belt on him does give it some exposure. It still means that your world champ is off competing primarily in Japan. Shibata, the never openweight champ. Elgin, Intercontinental champ. So we got a battle of champions here. The structure of this tournament: if you beat a champ in the tournament, because it is a singles match, you have a case for getting a title shot against their title. So whoever wins this match, if they were to lose their title, they would have a case for getting a title shot against the other guys if they wanted to go after that one instead of having a rematch for the title that they lost. And of course, anyone who beats either of them throughout the tournament will have a case for a title shot. It basically means Hanma would be able to get a return title match against Shibata. Yoshihashi. Wait a minute, no, not Yoshihashi. It was Evil and Naito that beat Elgin, so both of them would have a case. Shibata doing the weird standing wrist stomp thing. Does look pretty nasty. Going after the arm. Seeing a bit more mat work, grappling out of Shibata through the tournament. Perhaps trying to conserve energy, play it a little bit safe, doesn't want to blow himself out too early. Also, perhaps a bit of strategy involved if he can injure people going through the tournament, that he does hurt their chances of winning matches going forward. Michael Elgin just powers him straight up and sits him up on the top turnbuckle. Of course, Shibata got his shoulder messed up early on. Maybe decided to share the love with everybody. Just a big old chop. Puts Shibata down. Now he's egging him on. And do it again. Trade chops here. Yeah, chop and kick. We'll see who's going to give first here. Now going to exchange forearms. Shibata, very tough, used to taking these forearms off of guys, but Elgin's a big dude. Big, strong dude. But Shibata kicks him in the face. And Michael Elgin returns the favor. Elgin catches the arm, goes after Shibata's shoulder, which has got all that athletic tape on it, the support tape. This sends it flying into the turnbuckle pole there. Ring pole, whatever. Stomping on the shoulder. Again, you wear that athletic tape because it supports, kind of protects. Usually going to be because of sore muscles, deep bruising perhaps. And it does help them, but at the same time, you might as well be painting a big old bullseye right on your body. Shibata asking for some more. Elgin giving it to him. Kind of button heads there. Neither one really giving in. Shibata getting the better of him, though, right there. Runs in with a big kick. In those forearms. Going to be looking for the big drop kick. Hits it. Head arm suplex. Gets it. 1, 2. Elgin kicks out. Shibata looking for abdominal stretch here. Pretty much has it in, but Elgin is powering right through and arm drags him over. Big enziguri in the corner. Catches Elgin, goes for the guillotine, has it locked in pretty good there. It's the legs around the body, controlling one arm. But Elgin's just going to power him right up. Maybe looking for looked like he was going to perhaps try to suplex him over, but Shibata's got him back down. Elgin not tapping and not going out. Going for the suplex. Kind of a cradle into a suplex there. And at the same time, you got to consider that Shibata, through all of that, wasn't having to expend a lot of energy while Michael Elgin was essentially just picking up Shibata twice and muscling him around. That is one of the dangers of specializing in the power game, is Every time you do something, you're wearing yourself down that much more. Huge clothesline there. Just a big suplex. Sends him flying. 1, 2, only a 2 count. Conversely, Shibata specializes in those strikes and will go to the ground game, use submission holds. Perhaps gives him a bit of an advantage because he can get a bit of rest here and there by taking it to the mat, keeping Elgin down off his feet, keeping him from hitting those power moves. Hasn't been extremely successful so far, though. Not in the last few minutes. Elgin definitely rattled. Is he going to be able to hit this before Shibata can recover enough to respond? Nope. Shibata rolls out. Goes for a crossface. Elgin very close to the ropes. He basically just needs to raise his feet. And gets it. Shibata nailing him with some kicks. This machine gun kicking right there, but takes a big discus forearm. Belly to back. Shibata stays up. Hits one on Elgin, who pops up as well. Elgin takes a big kick. Blocks a kick. Big clothesline. Shibata goes all the way out to the floor. Elgin back to his feet while Shibata is still laying out on the outside. Elgin maybe looking to power bomb the buckle. He wants to buckle bomb him into the ring pole. And, well, he really just slams him into it there. Definitely ouch. Looking to do it again. And does it again. Elgin getting a little dirty here. Does not want to lose 3 in a row. Looking for a power bomb. Hits it. 1, 2. Shibata gets out and goes for an armbar. Elgin trying to block it. Shibata gonna have to break the hold. Transitions into a triangle choke. Elgin looking to pick him up and power bomb him with one arm. Buckle bomb with one arm. Eventually, now for the spin. And Shibata gets around, gets the sleeper. He will want to transition from this into that PK kick. Well, PK, penalty kick. Elgin trying to muscle him out of it, bash him around. Shibata has to release it. Kicks, goes back to it. Big suplex there. Sleeper suplex, I guess. Only a 2 count. Sleeper arm lock suplex, I guess. I don't know that I've seen that before. Big forearm. Big clothesline. Shibata kicks right out. Really fired up here, but there cannot be much left in the tank. It's cannot really take much more to put one of these guys away. Going on pure adrenaline here. Shibata goes down. Elgin hits him to the back and then to the front. Big clotheslines. Picking him up. Nope. 2. Another buckle bomb. Spin out. Power bomb. 1, 2, 3. Elgin picks up his first win. Shibata drops 1 and 2. Making them tied in points so far. Alright, so the point position so far for Block B. Elgin just picked up his first win. Evil, 1 win. Hanma, 2. Nagata, 3-0. 3 wins so far. Naito, 2-0. Nakajima, 2 wins. Kenny Omega, 2 wins. Shibata, 1. Toriano, 0. Yoshihashi, 1. So Nagata's out in the lead so far, but still 6 matches to go. Everything to play for, everything to fight for. Elgin gets his arm raised there. And that is it for day 6 of the NJPW 2016 G1 Climax Tournament. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.